What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Eric's house. And today we got to talk about a movie by the name of Beekeeper. Okay, I just checked this movie out a couple days ago. And, well, this movie is quickly in competition for the worst movie of 2024. We got a long way to go. It probably won't be the worst. But I found this movie to be beyond stupid and very difficult to get through.
Do you understand? I can't do it.
I'm seeing a lot of reviews that are kind of praising this movie and saying, hey, it's some dumb, fun, turn off your brain, throwback action movie. And I just kind of didn't experience it that way. I know there have been lots of movies that you can consider kind of dumb, where you do have to turn down your brain quite a bit. Going back to the 80s, all these great 80s action movies. I just watched one called Cliffhanger. If you guys remember that movie with Sylvester Stallone, and certainly a lot happens in that movie that's very implausible. And there's a lot of things that happen that if you think about it, it's like, okay, that wouldn't happen. He'd be suffering from hypothermia after something like that, you know, or these villains are just way too over the top evil. This is ridiculous. And just a lot of things that happen are certainly, like I said, a little implausible, a little ridiculous. But they're not so stupid and ridiculous and so off the charts absurd that you can still watch the movie and it doesn't just make you totally cringe and want to just turn it off. There's enough really cool action, and the story's really good, and the dialogue is bearable in those 80s movies. I mean, there's some lines of dialogue that haven't aged that well, and some catchphrases and things like that that haven't aged that well, but most of it's fine. It feels like the writing is professional, and it feels like it's just, you know, yeah, maybe it is kind of stupid. But this movie, Beekeeper, the things that happen in this movie are beyond stupid. They're beyond ridiculous. There is absolutely no attempt at logic where there could have been. And I thought the dialogue was absolutely atrocious. But I don't want to go off on a total rant right from beginning to end of this video. Let me talk about some positives of the movie because I thought it was a pretty cool concept. Now, basically, it's a John Wick concept, except done so much worse. But clearly, let's just be honest, they saw the success of John Wick. This happens in Hollywood all the time. Famously with The Matrix, after The Matrix came out, 100 other movies came out copying The Matrix, except none of them were as good. They want to make money, so when a movie project goes huge, like John Wick, which came out of nowhere, John Wick was just it looked like it was a generic action movie with Keanu Reeves. Like, what's this, okay? It took off. And they just made part 4, working on part 5. Became a huge multi-billion-dollar franchise. So the Beekeeper people completely copied it and decided, let's put out this guy who's retired, John Wick, and there's some secret underground organization that he used to work for, just like in John Wick, but this time it's the Beekeepers. And something's going to happen to him. He's going to be wronged in a personal way that's going to make him get back into it and go seek revenge and kill a bunch of people. Overall, same concept. And I like the concept. That's why I like John Wick. I think it's really cool. And I think some things were done right or close to right. I mean, there's some things about it that I enjoyed. And I thought the motivation, okay, let me just throw out the premise here in case you don't know. But basically what this movie is the beekeeper, which is Jason Statham, who's actually a literal beekeeper in retirement, but turns out being a beekeeper is like a code word for this group of hardcore assassins. They're called beekeepers, and he actually is a beekeeper. Okay. Anyway, the lady that he's living with, renting from, and he takes her honey because he's a beekeeper. Anyway, she ends up losing all her money, $2 million, much of which was, if not all, was part of a charity that she really cared about, and she, was helping operate. Anyway, that money was stolen by scammers in a phishing scam or whatnot. And so she is completely distraught. I won't get into the details, but that leads to him going out and seeking revenge and going to take care of all these scammers and this entire scamming operation that's going on. Now, I love that premise because I hate scammers. I hate these kind of scammers who prey on people. We've all, literally, everyone watching this video has probably been called by one of these scammers. And many people I know have You know, they're not necessarily falling for it all the way, but they know how to scare you. These are the people that call you and tell you, hey, you owe a bunch of money in taxes. And, you know, if you don't pay, they're on their way to arrest you. Just hang up the phone. That's not how that works. You know, but it scares people. People get very terrified. Oh my God, I want to go to jail. You're not going to jail. But if you do continue talking, I'm just going to tell you a little tip right here. As soon as they mention gift cards, please hang up their freaking phone. Please do not buy gift cards. I don't think you have to be a genius to know this is a scam. But back to the movie. Got a couple of little tips there for life. Okay, don't get ripped off. Don't get scammed. But back to the movie. This particular woman got scammed, and Jason Statham goes out for revenge. And there's a couple of cool scenes. One early on when he goes into the first call center, and he's gonna burn the whole place down, and he's taking care of taking care of business there against these scammers and these people who are working there. And some of them might just be normal people who have a job there, but they know what they're doing. And so they're really not that great of people. So Jason Statham's not too worried about them. He might give them a chance to get out and change their life, but it's going to be a brief chance or you're going down. So I kind of like the whole concept. And there's a couple of scenes here and there. There's one scene later on where Jason Statham's character is going after, he's going deep after him, trying to get to some high level stuff I'll talk about here in the spoiler territory. I'm going to talk a little spoilers, but there's one scene where he has some tricks that help him penetrate the areas that he's trying to get into, which are very highly classified areas that are hard to get to, but he does some really cool things to make it work. And I thought there were some creative ideas on how he actually got to where he needed to go, which feels impossible. But they did some creative things to make it a little more possible. And they were really cool. There was one moment, like an hour in, I was hating the movie, but I was like, oh, that was sick. That was sick. So it's got its moments. It does have its moments, I'll say that. But all told, this movie sucks. So the dialogue is cringe. People don't talk this way. There's a lot of cussing in the movie that's mostly unnecessary. I mean, FBI agents. Now, you have the main FBI agent. It's a woman who is extremely annoying, extremely unlikable. She's the main one coming after Jason Statham, even though she has a specific connection to the case where she wouldn't be even on this case. There's a total conflict of interest, but she's on the case. It makes no sense there, but that's fine. And she's just there every step of the way, which makes no sense. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but she's there every step of the way, even when it gets way above her pay grade. And she's constantly annoying, and she doesn't look athletic or tough or quick-witted or quick at it in any way, shape, or form. But she's always right there with Jason Statham, who's supposed to be a beekeeper. The beekeepers are the toughest and the most indestructible group of people known to man. And they can take out anyone. If they want to get to the president's dead. If they want to get to anyone, they're dead. They can kill anyone. But this annoying FBI agent is the only person that can seem to keep up with him somehow. Through pure luck and happenstance, I don't know what, but she's really annoying. I can't stress that enough. She's an FBI agent, but she goes to work with like jeans with tears and holes in them and a normal t-shirt. I don't know how that's allowed, what the point of that was. And a lot of the dialogue, she has a partner who comes off as an idiot. And these are the two that are supposed to be like the ones that are every step of the way keeping up with Jason Statham's character. Yeah, I think not. Also, the visuals in this movie and some of the set design is absolutely ridiculous. He goes into these call centers, and I understand trying to flare it up a little bit for the screen or whatever, making it a little more cool than just your typical boring call center, which was what these places would actually look like. They made these places look like wild video game-ish. I don't know what's going on. They look like either 1,000 years in the future or something out of a crazy video game event. Purple or magenta lights everywhere, neon stuff going on, screens. I mean, how much money are they spending on electricity just to have this place operate? The place looks totally unrealistic. Took me out of it. Like I'm saying, add a little bit to it, sure. You know, but it was way over the top. And I'm not just going to go on and think about every example I can, other than just telling you there's no logic in this movie. Like the way a group of people will find Jason Statham is just almost happenstance. They just say, let's look at the past few people that we've scanned, and they'll just show them driving up to the woman's house, and then Jason Statham drives by. There he is. So, I mean, they don't show a true, like a good investigation of, you don't feel any smarts or any wits from any of the villains in this movie. And the main villain, I guess, the guy who's really running the operation is just like a kid. He's like a young 20-something-year-old punk who I really had no respect for. I never felt that he was anything close to Jason Statham. Like nobody, no villain or FBI agent or anybody really can keep up with Jason Statham's stature as the beekeeper in this movie. Like Jason Statham's up here, everyone else is just you got the FBI agents I talked about, this kid, there's a new beekeeper who takes over as the new beekeeper, who is a skinny woman who was not a threat and did not seem like anything close to Jason Statham. She just goes around with a huge giant machine gun, and she was like, okay. And there was nothing there to create any kind of threat for Jason Statham, what he was going to do. There was one crazy looking like Irish guy who was pretty funny, but he was the only real guy who could keep up with Jason Statham in some hand-to-hand combat, but it was just a very, very brief fight. That guy should have been the main villain, or at least he should have been more prominent in this movie, but at least they had that. But it was a cool little fight towards the end. And okay, so he had one guy who could kind of maybe give him a little bit of a fight, but it was very brief. And that's just this movie. It's so stupid. The dialogue is cringe, so you don't even get good dialogue you don't get good characters. Jason Statham's character is okay, but that's it. But even he didn't seem too invested in it. He was just kind of playing Jason Statham, a very, subdued, just kind of quiet, but still intimidating. But overall, the movie just it wasn't entertaining, and it was hard to watch. It was so stupid. There's so much I could talk about how stupid it was that I'm just not going to go on and on, other than to tell you this movie sucks. I got to say, other than a few really cool scenes and a general overall good concept, they completely botched this movie. And I got to say, hard pass on this one. I would not recommend this movie. With that said, I want to get into some spoiler territory briefly, just so I can kind of expand on some of the negatives and hopefully make them make a little more sense of what I'm talking about. So we're now in spoiler territory if you've seen the movie. Okay, so early in the movie, I talked about the woman who gets scammed. She actually commits suicide very quickly. Very quickly. Now, okay, I can deal with some kind of like really moments in movies that you would think are pretty unlikely, but possible. Possible. Normally, you think somebody would try to get some help, try to see if they can get their money back, call the bank. Maybe she did call. I'm sure she called the bank. They just didn't show it. But you're going to take some action to try to get your money back. But she didn't appear to take too much action. She pretty much whacked herself almost immediately. Found that a little bit illogical, a little unlikely, but I can live with that. But that was just for the first thing. Turns out Jason Statham is going after whoever's the head of this scamming operation, and turns out that person is the son of the president of the United States, who is a woman in this case. So yeah, there are some powerful supposedly women in this movie, but the funny thing is I didn't find it. And I know these days a lot of I feel like old movies from the 80s and 90s represented real badass women better than the new movies that are supposedly pushing this girl power, women, and we get these women who are not very likable or intimidating, or they're just not good characters, at least not in this movie. So there's a woman who's the president of the United States. Turns out it's her son. That's the 20-something-year-old kid who is running this whole operation, who Jason Statham's character is after, who I forgot his actual name, the beekeeper. So he's after this guy who actually hides out in the White House. I believe straight up in the Oval Office. That Jason Statham or anyone else is in the real world is not going to make it to the Oval Office. They will get shot. They will get killed. One man, one woman, one person, I don't care, one individual, 2 individuals, 10 individuals cannot make it into the Oval Office just to attack the president or the president's family. Good luck. But in this particular case, Jason Statham makes it all the way to the White House. He takes out all the agents in his way, all the Secret Service. Boom, boom, boom. He just takes out everybody. And it does get a little bit ridiculous, but the most ridiculous and annoying thing of all, who were the last 2 agent still standing tall when he got done taking out all these professionals, all these people at the highest levels of security to protect the president. A stupid-ass FBI agent and her dumb-ass partner were the last two in that Oval Office when all was said and done. Like, really? These two still? They would have been out of the picture a long time ago. And by the way, that woman, the FBI agent, is the daughter of the woman who committed suicide. And she has that direct connection. She met Jason Statham earlier in the movie, and she also happened to be an FBI agent, happened to be on the case from day one to the last day in the freaking Oval Office. She was there every step of the way, being annoying and just very, very difficult to deal with while she was on screen, because I just found her extremely unlikable, extremely annoying. The dialogue, again, terrible in this movie. And I was just like, what is she doing there? What are they doing there? They would not be on this case anymore. We'd have the military would be in here. This guy would have been stopped at some point, obviously. And then he jumps out the window and gets away with this final stupid moment where he looks back and now she has a shot. She has a chance to kill him, but doesn't, which of course, I just cannot. And there's a million other things. I cannot tell you. This movie just is a stupid, stupid movie. It's a ridiculous movie. There's also B puns throughout. And I'm talking about not just when Jason Statham or the Beekeeper organization is people who know about that. I'm talking about normal FBI meetings, talking about this guy who's on the loose. He's burning down call centers. He's, on a rampage towards the White House. The FBI are having meetings discussing how to stop this guy, what's his motivations, and the meetings are absolutely cringe, so unrealistic, but there's B puns even within the FBI agents. Like one time the FBI main boss is like, so what's this guy angry about? Ask the woman, what's he angry about? Why is he doing this? Which this meeting came a little bit late in the movie for them to be asking that question. They would have already been briefed on this. They would have already known about this. But anyway, the woman, the FBI woman, what did she say? Did she say he's very angry because his landlord, who happens to be my mom, was scammed, and then she took her own life because she was scammed by these scammers, and these are the ones who are running these call centers. That's why he's going and burning them down. That would be the actual answer to that. What did she say instead? He's protecting the hive. I mean, B puns throughout. To be or not to be, protecting the hive. I forgot them all, but there are a million B references and B puns. They're trying so hard to make this a big John Wick franchise. The Beekeeper. They're trying so hard. They thought they had something big. They thought they had a winner right here with the Beekeeper. The movie is stupid. This movie's not close to John Wick. Not close. John Wick had some kick-ass dialogue, kick-ass moments. This movie had one or two. But all in all, it's a terrible film. I thought just dumb logic throughout, and I cannot express how bad this movie is. And it will be in competition for the worst of the year. Hard pass on this one. I won't say complete trash, only because there are some cool scenes here and there. You guys have a great day. Let me know what you think in that comment section down below. We'll talk to you in the next video.